From the great Pacific Northwest to the shadow of Mount Olympus, well met wherever you may be, from the fields of Elysium to the frigid gates of Helheim, I'm Merv Gnomon, and we are Realm Walking. On the program tonight, Gary Seymour is here to talk about the Mandela Effect and why some folks seem to be remembering things that aren't quite right. But first, what they don't want you to know with Richard Head. Go ahead and give it to us, Dickie.
Police in Gimlin, Illinois are reminding people not to leave valuable things in their cars. Police are saying that several vehicles were broken into in the parking lots of 3 local businesses. Every car that has been hit has had its doors torn from its hinges and valuables taken from the inside. Earlier today, we spoke with Corporal Wendell Van Zant of the Gimlin Police Department by phone for more information.
The first reports we got of this involved an 88 Yugo, so we didn't think much of it when we saw that the door was missing. And to be honest, we thought, who cares, it's a Yugo, right? But when the fourth call came in involving a brand new Ford Super Duty in the same condition, we knew that these crimes were more than likely connected to each other. Every vehicle's door had been pulled off and anything of value had been stripped from the car. Even the floor mats were gone in some cases.
When asked if the department had any leads on the case, Corporal Van Zant had this to say.
Oh yeah, we've got lots of footage from security cameras, and this from several different angles. As a law enforcement professional, you couldn't ask for better evidence than what we've been handed. But the thing is, we can't see the suspects clearly in any of the footage. And I'm not talking about your normal low-quality security camera here. This stuff is downright blurry. And it's only the suspects that are out of focus. Everything around them is crystal clear. But as soon as the individuals in question appear, they become what I can only describe as a smudge moving across the screen. The only thing we can really tell you about them right now is, boy, are they tall. I mean, big. These guys range anywhere between 6 and 7 feet, and they seem to be wearing full-length fur coats. Strangest thing I've seen in a while.
We then asked Corporal Van Zant if he had any advice for the public.
These are some pretty bold fellas we're dealing with here, so I don't think that you should confront them. I mean, they're ripping doors off of cars with their bare hands, and that tells me they're either stupid or desperate, and they probably wouldn't hesitate to do something to you if you were to confront them about it. And stop leaving your stuff in your car. Why do you people go shopping and leave your wallet on your seat or your purse on the floor? It's like you're asking for it. You can't do that and not expect life to happen. I mean, really, use your brains for once.
The Gimlin Police Department would like to ensure the public that they have stepped up patrols around the city to deter any other crimes of this nature. They also ask if anyone has any information about these incidents or any other suspicious activities to contact them immediately.
We'll be right back with Gary Seymour right after this. Everybody has that one person in their life who's hard to shop for. I know I do. Be it for birthdays or holidays, you just don't know what to get them. They seem to have everything they could ever want. You always seem to end up getting them an unappreciated desperation gift card from a store they'll never go to. Well, friends, agonize no more over what to buy for that hard to shop for person, because Spiders by Mail has you covered. You can send Spiders by Mail anytime, anywhere to anyone through the power of the internet. Choose from any of the guaranteed in-stock species. All you need is a major credit card and an internet connection and you're good to go. Uncle got a birthday coming up? Send him a Spider by Mail. Wedding anniversary this weekend? Send your significant other the spider of their dreams. Best friend from college christening their firstborn? Send a Spider by Mail. And shop now with exclusive code NOMERVY just for our listeners and get 12% off the purchase of any spider smaller than a quarter. That's NOMERVWHY. Spiders by Mail. There's a spider for every occasion. For the past few years, many individuals across the world have started to notice that things aren't as they thought they were. People are realizing that their memories aren't attuned with recorded history, and that they in fact have what would seem to be false memories that they've been living with their entire existence. So, naturally, these fine folks have sought each other out over the black morass, which we know as the internet, looking for solace, understanding, and confirmation from anyone who's willing to listen to them misremember everything they've ever known to be true. Which brings us to our guest tonight. Gary Seymour is a man who has devoted his life to cataloging all the false memories brought about by the waking nightmare known as the Mandela Effect. Gary, welcome to the program. How have you been?
Great, Merv. Thanks for having me on.
And we're glad to have you, Gary, but let's go ahead and get into this. What is the Mandela Effect?
Well, Merv, the Mandela Effect is like you said. It's many people who share memories with each other that don't seem to match the status quo.
Can you give us an example?
Well, the most well-known and where the phenomenon gets its name is that people remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 80s. But I've heard that the Mandela Effect is actually a Mandela Effect in and of itself, because some people actually remember it being called the Winters reaction up until about 3 years ago, because people were remembering the late actor Jonathan Winters as the actual first man on the moon.
Well, are you saying he wasn't?
He was not, Merv. In fact, it was a man named Neil Armstrong who was the first man to set foot on the surface of the moon.
That's incredible, Gary. How is it you found yourself in the middle of all this madness? What was it that got you swept up in this whirlwind known as the Mandela Effect?
It's actually a pretty interesting story.
Then please tell us.
I was actually just browsing the internet one night when I came across it. I read one story about a guy who remembered growing up in a wealthy family and living in a very affluent neighborhood on the East Coast. He owned his own company and had a mansion and a yacht. But then he woke up one morning somewhere in the Midwest living in a double wide with a second mortgage and 3 kids working a retail job. He called his parents to see if he was misremembering things, and they asked him if he had a head injury. I know, right? After reading that story, I was hooked and just fell down the rabbit hole. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Then the next morning, I went to the McDonald's for breakfast, and you know what, Merv?
What's that, Gary?
The golden arches weren't the same shade of gold as they were the day before. It was like it was implanted in my brain, almost as if I had been reprogrammed by the hours I had spent the night before reading these stories about the Mandela Effect. It was like a veil had been lifted, and I was meant to see it. Explain that, Merv.
I don't know, maybe it was...
You can't, Merv. Nobody can.
I guess not. Can you tell us about some other instances you've heard of since you started this campaign of collecting Mandela Effects?
Sure, Merv. I've been seeing online that a lot of people live in Ottawa.
Ottawa? That's in Canada, isn't it?
Yes, Merv, it sure is. And I've been hearing from some of the residents of there that in recent weeks something hasn't been quite right with the city.
Well, what's wrong, Gary? Have they run out of maple syrup?
Not quite. People are actually reporting that the entire city has moved 3 inches to the left.
Gary, that's incredible. How could such a thing even happen?
We're not sure how it happened, Merv. All I know is that people woke up one morning and were running into things like nightstands and bookshelves that they'd had in their homes for years. I mean, could you imagine waking up one morning and stubbing your toe on the chifforobe your Aunt Myrtle left you in her will 45 years ago? The only explanation is that everything around you has been moved. Am I right?
How the hell did you know I had an Aunt Myrtle?
That's not important. What's important are the zebras.
What about the zebras? Oh God, Gary, don't tell me we've forgotten about the zebras.
No, Merv. So far, everybody still seems to remember zebras.
Oh, thank God. I honestly don't know what I would have done if we had started to forget about zebras.
What do you remember about zebras, Merv?
If I remember correctly, they're horses, but not.
Right. How about some of the defining characteristics, though?
They're, quadrupedal?
What else?
Oh, they have long faces.
That's true, I guess, but what about the markings?
Oh, they have stripes, yeah. You should have been more specific about that, Gary.
Exactly, stripes. Some people remember them not having stripes, but instead having spots.
Amazing, Gary. What else do you have?
Do you know the picture of Dorian Gray?
Yeah, I know it.
Well, how would you feel if I had told you that it was never the picture of Dorian Gray, and that it's always been the portrait of Dorian Gray? Go ahead and look it up, I'll wait.
No. See, Gary? Producer Toby just pulled it up on the computer right here, and it says picture, not portrait. I think you might have got it wrong this time.
Wait, what? No, Merv. This is unprecedented. That is going on right here at this very moment. It's history.
What? What happened?
Well, Merv, we've just witnessed the Mandela Effect in real time. For the first time in recorded history.
Oh my.
Yes.
Well, I sure hope nobody forgets about this.
You and me both, Merv. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Merv, but haven't you been doing this show since the 80s?
You got that right. Finest overnight supernatural broadcast since '88 to be exact, Gary.
What would you say if I told you that some people remember it being a bit different?
Well, I'd say I'm intrigued, yet slightly afraid. What exactly do these folks remember, Gary?
They remember a program that talked about all things paranormal throughout the wee hours of the night, doing interviews with world-renowned experts and taking calls from anyone willing to hold on the line long enough. It was not very unlike realm walking, except it was hosted by a man broadcasting from his trailer home in the desert. He was definitely not named Merv Gnomon, but
That's just ludicrous, Gary. Who in their right mind would live out in the desert? There's no water. You could be attacked by a cactus at any time.
Don't shoot the messenger, Merv. I'm just telling you what I've heard.
And I'm telling you what I know. Nobody in their right mind would live in the desert. It's outrageous. What else you got?
Merv, if you thought that was crazy, wait until you hear this one.
Well, hopefully it puts me in a better mood at least.
Remember Florida?
Now don't be ridiculous. Of course I remember Florida. Hold on a second.
See?
Huh. And where did I take all those vacations?
Nobody knows, Merv. That's the beauty of the Mandela Effect.
Well, that didn't cheer me up at all. We gotta find a way to get this show back on track. Give us a good one, Gary.
Okay, let me look through my files. Alright. Of course you know all about the standard Mandela effects, about movie quotes being wrong. Things like Hannibal Lecter never actually saying hello, Clarice, or life is like a box of chocolates from Forrest Gump actually being a word-for-word quote from the opening from Patton. But when was the last time you watched the classic film Casablanca starring Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman?
A few years ago, I'd say. Great movie, it's a classic.
Yes, it sure is. It's 102 minutes of dogs playing in tall grass now.
You're joking.
No, go check it out after the show. It's literally almost 2 hours of bounding dogs over a soundtrack of music. It's like a really long screensaver.
Huh.
That's what I said. Also, you know about the Kennedy assassination, right?
November 22nd, 1963. I can remember exactly where I was. I was in the employee lounge of the station's newsroom looking for milk because I'd just eaten an ice cream sandwich and half of the chocolate sandwich cookie. Is it a cookie or is it a biscuit? Anyway, that part was stuck to the roof of my mouth, and I can still feel the anxiety that sweet treat caused me to this very day.
Okay, so most people remember Kennedy being shot, right? Back and to the left, remember?
Yeah, book suppository, magic bullet, grassy knoll, Woody Harrelson's father. Of course I remember.
Well, there are some people who don't remember it that way at all. These people remember him being killed by a lion.
Did you just say lion?
Yes, lion.
How?
From the sky. I clearly remember seeing the Zapruder film up until about 6 years ago and watching President Kennedy being mauled by a flying lion.
I gotta tell you, Gary, this is some amazing stuff. What is it you think could be causing it?
People have many different concepts of what has been causing the Mandela effects. Some people think it's when CERN started firing the Large Hadron Collider. It created rifts in space and time that changed history as we knew it. Other people believe that something happened on December 21st, 2012, as predicted by the Mayans, and that they think it caused us to shift into a new reality, or a new age, if you will. And then yet even more people think it's possibly some sort of shadow government or secret society using secret time travel technology to go back in time and change the timeline to benefit the desired outcome of history.
Well, what is it you believe?
I believe that not only are we jumping into different timelines, but we are jumping into completely different universes, Merv.
Can you give us a bit of an explanation?
Do you remember those choose-your-own-adventure books?
I sure do.
In a way, it's like that. Here's an example. Let's say you're getting out of the shower and you slip and fall and end up dying from the injuries you receive. Well, at the exact same time that you slip, the universe splits, and instead of you falling, you catch yourself. And instead of dying slowly and alone on the bathroom floor, you end up in almost the exact copy of the universe you were in before.
Hold on right there, Gary. I'm going to stop you for 1 second. I've just gotten confirmation from producer Toby that it is indeed a cookie on an ice cream sandwich, a wafer cookie to be exact. I'm sorry about that, Gary, but I'd like to keep the audience updated with the facts here on Realm Walking.
No problem, Merv, I understand. But that's where I think the Mandela Effect comes from, is when the universe splits, it doesn't make an exact copy of itself. Little details are lost in the transfer. This can happen in almost any situations. Let's say you decided to wear a red tie instead of a blue one this morning. Well, that causes a split where you choose to wear the blue tie, and more Mandela effects are created. It's like a copy of a copy of a copy. Little details start to disappear after a while, and some things get lost or seem to completely change from the original.
So, Gary, do you believe that all this could be caused by the universe dividing itself to accommodate for every possible outcome from any conceivable instance that could ever happen within the realm of possibility?
Yeah, I do.
Incredible. We'll be right back with Gary Seymour and your phone calls right after this break.
Are you a Realm Walker? Go to patreon.com/realmwalking and sign up today to become a producer of the show and receive other benefits exclusively for Realm Walkers.
How much do you love your family? Do you love them enough to be properly prepped for the imminent global collapse? Will you be one of the many scrounging at what used to be the local grocery store, offering your body as payment to some other unprepared lowlife because they've cornered the market on the last of the canned dog food in the entire tri-state area? Don't be caught unprepared. Contact True Patriot Preventer now. At True Patriot Preventer, we can guarantee your food sovereignty after the collapse of society. True Patriot Preventer offers continuance kits ranging from a single meal all the way up to 1 year's worth of nutrient-rich, life-sustaining faux food. Revel in the time of the apocalypse as you watch what's left of civilization burn from the comfort of your fully stocked food pantry several feet below the Earth's surface. Enjoy the stimulating calories of our famous imitation pizza as your neighbor Bob tries to apologize for all them times he said you was nuts for burying them connexes back out in the cut. Prove that you love your family and contact True Patriot Preventer today. Get prepped before you need to be prepared.
There's a man under your bed. That man is me. This is Realm Walking with Merv Gnomon.
We're back here on Realm Walking with Gary Seymour, and we're ready to take your calls. South of the 33rd parallel, you're Realm Walking.
Hey Merv, I have a question for your guest.
Go ahead, caller.
I remember a couple years ago when nobody knew about the Mandela Effect, but now everybody knows about it. What's the deal with that?
Oh, it's a Mandela Effect. Everyone has always known about the Mandela Effect, but something shifted in most people's realities and they forgot about it, and some of us kept remembering it.
What shifted?
Probably something simple like choosing a salad for lunch instead of tacos or something like that.
Oh, that makes sense.
Glad to help.
North of the 33rd, you're Realm Walking.
Hi, Merv. This is Randy from Mesa, Arizona.
Great to hear from you, Rodney. Do you have a question for Gary?
No, Merv. This is more of a question for you. I'm a longtime listener of the show, and I really enjoy what you got going on here, but, I was kind of offended when you said that only crazy people live in the desert.
What?
Earlier, you said that nobody in their right mind would live in a desert, and that hurt me.
I'm sorry, Robbie, but I don't remember ever saying that.
No, I know you said it, Merv. I heard those exact words come out of your mouth.
Merv, it happened again. This is another Mandela Effect, live on the air. I don't remember you saying it either.
But, I have it recorded.
2 Mandela effects happening in real time on one show. What an amazing night. I hope that answers your question, Raul. Madcap Line, you're realm walking.
Merv,
Go ahead, caller. You're on with Gary Seymour.
the bananas are green.
You again.
The bananas are green, Merv.
Caller, don't hang up. I've got some questions for you.
He hung up.
Thanks, Gare. North of the 33rd, you're realm walking.
Hey, this is Phil from North Carolina, and I was hoping you guys could help me out because up until about a week ago, it was West Carolina.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a real weird last couple days. I can't quite get my head around it, and everybody I talk to thinks I'm joking. I mean, it's really not that different. I drive the same car. I still live in the same house, and on the same street, and I have the same wife and kids, and I still go to the same job every day. But I know that it's not my car, and I know it's not my house, and God help me, I know it's not my beautiful wife. I'm really starting to lose it here, and I'm not sure what I should do about it. I just want to go back to West Carolina, man.
I'm sure it has been. Gary, have you ever heard of anything like this before?
Oh yes, all the time. This is a very common occurrence with all of the dimensional shifting that we have going on. You can go on the internet and find several people just like Phil here, who find themselves displaced in a very familiar yet different world. Honestly, stories like this are a dime a dozen, and not really worth our time.
Well, in that case, south of the 33rd, you're realm walking.
How y'all doing tonight?
Doing great, caller. What's on your mind?
Look, Merv, I've been listening to y'all all night, and well, I'm gonna tell it to you straight, Merv.
Hold on a second, caller. Are you driving a big rig right now?
Yes, sir, I am.
You know, we have a tradition around here with truck drivers where they blow their horn when I bring them on the air. So let's hear that horn.
Sorry, Merv, I wasn't thinking.
Not a problem, caller. What was it you wanted to ask?
Well, Merv, I was wondering if you and your friend here could call my wife, Carol Ann, and explain to her that our anniversary is one of them Mandela Effects.
Excuse me?
Listen, Merv, I ain't remembered our anniversary for going on the last 10 years now, and I swear it ain't 'cause I've been drinking. There's something ghostly afoot.
And you think it's the Mandela Effect?
I sure do.
Caller, I tell you what, how about you stay on the line and producer Toby will get your information and we'll give Carmen a call after the show and Gary will explain the situation to her. How's that sound?
That sounds fine to me, Merv. Appreciate y'all.
Are we really going to call that woman?
You know, Gary, I've been doing this for a long time now and I've come to find that most people just want to be heard. So, probably definitely not.
That really doesn't make sense, but okay.
Well, Gary, we're out of time here, but it was great having you on tonight.
Thanks, Bev. It was a pleasure being on the show.
For Toby Singer, Chase Salmon, Richard Head, Riley Pitts, Michael Roch, Brandon Duvall, Megan Slayton, and Cedric Purcell, I'm Merv Gnomon. We'll see you on the next program. Till then, trust no one.